25 years. 25 years ago, almost to the day, was the first time I walked into this building. I was a sixth grader at Homer Center Elementary School, and myself and 64 of my classmates came for a sixth grade class trip to tour the Capitol. Over the last number of years, I've had the opportunity, as I did this morning, to greet the sixth grade class from Homer Center Elementary School. Now, most years, when they've come down, I've just stayed the extra day to greet them, given it's the school that I came from and the experience I remember most from the sixth grade. And when the legislature's not in session, and when the governor's not here, you have an incredible opportunity to give kids a different experience touring this building. They get to come on to the House floor. They get to sit in the Speaker's chair. They get to tour the governor's private office. They get to see where the elevator is the governor uses to go in and out of his reception area. One thing that you don't get to see or you don't take notice of when you're touring this building as a sixth grader, and I think sometimes maybe even as members we don't take notice of enough, are the words inscribed in the ceiling above us. If you look from this view back to the House gallery, you see the words, "And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." I have been in every single budget meeting for the last 3 months, and there have been a lot. We have accommodated the governor's schedule, and quite frankly, the governor has accommodated ours. We do not have a budget agreement, not for lack of meeting and not for lack of effort. And we also don't have a budget agreement, not because pension reform is holding us up. We appreciate the fact that last week the governor finally recognized the government will finally need to come into the 21st century and put together a significant defined contribution component to our pension system going forward. Liquor privatization is not holding up a budget agreement. We appreciate the fact that just last week the governor admitted for the first time that the private sector can run our liquor system better than the public sector. And we do not have a budget agreement, not because of a severance tax. Look, there's a lot of distance between the rhetoric from the campaign trail with the administration and the proposal. $1 billion severance tax to take care of all of our woes. Unfortunately, that $1 billion severance tax now is projected to bring in $99 million. Who's going to pay the difference? And that $1 billion severance tax, as we were promised during the campaign, was going to go to fund education. Well, nobody said that they'd be proposing a proposal that would be used to pay debt service on alternative energy programs, not on education. It's like taxing Burger King to subsidize McDonald's, for goodness sakes. Folks, we don't have a budget for a simple reason. There aren't the votes in this House or in the Senate for the broad-based tax increases that the governor has proposed. And it's Republican and Democrat. We can fool ourselves all we want. There aren't enough votes in this chamber to raise the personal income tax and the sales tax to increase spending. Could we do it to eliminate property taxes? I believe we could, dollar for dollar, and take care of that problem once and for all. As I said to the governor in numerous meetings, Governor, I could sit here and I could agree to a personal income tax increase and I could agree to a sales tax increase, but it means nothing because there are not the votes behind me to agree to that deal, Republican or Democrat in this chamber. That is the only thing holding up a budget agreement. Somebody in this administration is eventually going to have to come into reality and learn how to count. No matter how well-intended the governor's proposals are, no matter how good the rhetoric is or how many mail pieces they send out or how many millions they spend on TV commercials, it doesn't change the fact that in a democracy you need 102 votes in the House and 26 in the Senate before the governor gets to put his signature on a bill. Those votes are simply not there. The longer we allow the public to be delusioned under that auspice, the more disservice we're doing to the citizens of Pennsylvania. Look, today is a very simple day. Folks may have gotten out of, the veto overrides, questioning constitutionality, because if I remember back to that day, so many folks had said, I want to give money to these service programs. I want to give money to these schools. I want to fund our neediest citizens. But this is just not constitutional. Give me a constitutional way to do so. Today is your opportunity. There's nothing more constitutional than this emergency funding proposal. And look, folks, this is not the budget bill I want to be voting on. This was not my expectation for what we would be dealing with in the House of Representatives in September. But it's a necessity. Because it's not merely inconvenient for folks who don't have a home to show up to a homeless shelter and have it be closed. It's not merely inconvenient for folks to go to a food pantry and say, we're sorry, we don't have a budget, but don't worry, next year we'll have double the food for you. What is that person supposed to go back and tell their children, sorry, next year we'll be good, but this week you don't get to eat? And it's not merely inconvenient to the Erie School District that has said it's going to close its doors next week. This is not a matter of inconvenience for anybody in this chamber. It's not a victory for Republicans. It's not a poke in the eye to the Democratic governor. It's a necessity. And today's vote is very simple. You get to either release the hostages, or you're going to have to go back home and explain to them, we understand you need the funding. We understand you're going to close your doors. We understand our neediest folks. To them that we're supposed to be there to pick them up. But we had to stick with our governor because he told us so. I'm not going to make that decision. I want a final budget agreement. I want it done soon. It's far overdue. A lot of folks need to come into reality on how we're going to do so from all aspects. Those discussions should be had. In fact, we're going to a meeting with the governor immediately when we leave this floor today. But now is the time to release the hostages. Let the funds flow, because people's lives and their challenges, they're not stopped because we can't agree in this chamber. They go on. One way they go on with our assistance through the funding we provide. The other way, they continue to spiral downward out of control, because today folks don't have the courage to stand up for what's right. Mr. Speaker, I would ask the members to support Senate Bill 1000, and more importantly, I would ask the governor to do the right thing and to fund these programs as we've agreed upon doing so, and let's get to the business of finishing a final budget proposal. Thank you.